system, the golden children, and the above and beyond trap. We've all heard the old saying, you don't want to know how the sausage is made. Well, a while back I landed a job in food manufacturing. Working in the food industry had been a huge dream of mine, and I was incredibly excited on day one. But let's just say that saying exists for a reason. The interview and the foreshadowing. When I was interviewing for the position, the head of quality looked me in the eye and told me that the daily responsibility of checking the manufacturing floor for cleanliness and allergens would be shared between me and my supervisor. Looking back, that lie was the ultimate foreshadowing for the next year and a half of my life. See, that shared responsibility never happened. I did it entirely on my own, every single day. At the time, I rolled with it because I just wanted to do my best, make a living, and go home. Let's be real. Working is stressful enough as it is. I didn't go there to make best friends or get involved in office politics. I wanted to keep it strictly professional, exchange my labor for a paycheck, and live my life. But companies like this don't want a professional boundary. They want you to push yourself to the absolute limit and go above and beyond for the corporate banner. And I'm sorry, but I can't do that. Not for what they were paying me. If you want free labor, look elsewhere. If you want me to sacrifice my mental health, you better bring extra pay and serious benefits. Otherwise, you're just asking your staff to work for free. The 70% crush and the extra burden. Once the analyst came back from leave, she took back the floor audits and about 30% of the lab work. That left 70% of the entire lab's workload entirely on my shoulders. On top of that, my supervisor, let's call her Sarah, had the fantastic idea to dump a massive extra duty on my plate that wasn't even supposed to be my job. Every single day, right in the middle of my testing, I had to stop everything and drive to another building on campus to pick up samples. I had to lug this giant heavy backpack full of them, 20 on an average day, up to 30 on a bad one. I'd haul them out of a giant fridge, load them into my car, drive over, and carry this heavy-ass bag up a flight of stairs to our lab. That took 30 minutes. Then I had to spend a full hour counting them, opening them up, and checking their viscosity. It completely derailed my day, eating up an hour and a half before I could even touch my actual testing. The 2022 backlog and the petty manager. Now you might think, why couldn't the third analyst in the lab help you out? Good question. She only handled micro samples, which took her maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. She easily had an hour or two of free downtime every shift where she could have helped me lift the load. But instead of having her help with the active lab testing, Sarah insisted on using her to enter a massive backlog of data into the computer. Get this, we were in 2025, and they had a backlog of data entry stretching all the way back to 2022. A 3-year gap. Managing data and the lab was literally Sarah's job as a supervisor. And it's not like she was overwhelmed. There were only 3 of us to manage. But Sarah was too busy being proud of her title. No joke. She literally had a scientific magazine prominently on display on her desk that had the title Lab Supervisor on the cover. It was so incredibly cringe. Like, okay, we get it. You're the manager. Calm down. You're managing 3 people. Get a grip. The math versus the efficiency myth. Because Sarah would rather protect her downtime and have the micro analyst do data entry, I was completely stuck when December hit, and the company acquired a massive new client. The workload exploded, and I was forced to stay late every single day. When Sarah hauled me into our first formal disciplinary meeting around April, she looked at me and straight up claimed she could do all of my lab work in just 5 hours. Okay, let's do the actual math on that. Sarah has more experience than me, so let's be generous. Let's say it takes her 5 hours. Give me an extra hour because I'd only been doing this for 6 months and refused to rush the science. That's 6 hours of pure lab testing. Add in the hour and a half for the campus sample runs. Add in our mandatory 30-minute lunch. Right there, you are at a completely full 8-hour day. So when a massive spike in new client production lands on top of that, the time has to spill over into overtime. The numbers add up perfectly. The testing is simple, sure, but the chemistry takes actual time. I didn't want to rush the tests and hand her bad data, but she didn't care about the math. She just wanted me to be a machine. Compromising science and the insider warning. Eventually, the pressure got so intense that I felt like I was going to lose my job if I didn't give her exactly what she wanted, raw speed. So I was forced to do what I needed to do to survive. I started pushing out results no matter what, no matter the cost to accuracy. I just had to put numbers down on the page, call it a day, and hope for the best. I knew I couldn't keep doing that, so I tried to go above my supervisor's head to the director of the department to complain about the impossible workload. Around that same time, I met up with a school friend's mother who actually worked at the same company in a different department. She looked at me and gave me a chilling warning. She said, "If you get on the bad side of the director, you will be gone within a month." She was absolutely right. Because when I stepped into his office to explain the unfair workload, I didn't realize I was walking into a trap. I was complaining about his golden children, his favorite supervisors. And on top of that, my supervisor, Sarah, and the manager right under the director were engaged to be married. The revenge roadmap and the exit. The system was completely rigged. You cannot complain to a director about his golden children, especially when one of them is engaged to his immediate underling. The moment I spoke up, I was on their radar. I was screwed no matter what. I don't have the kind of fake people skills required to stroke the ego of a director like that. I can't deal with people whose egos are so fragile that they will literally destroy someone's livelihood just because they don't like being challenged. That first formal meeting in April or May, it wasn't a performance review. It was a corporate formality. It was a 30-day roadmap to get me out the door. I tried going to HR to expose the insane conflict of interest, but they just smiled and did nothing. Exactly 1 month after I stood up for myself, they hauled me into a second meeting and let me go over a single mistake. The lesson, the family lie. After working here, the biggest thing I learned is that no matter how much a company talks about their culture, you're just a number. This was a smaller operation, and they always use that classic line, "We're a small company. We treat you like family." But hearing from my friend's mom and experiencing it myself made me realize the dark truth about those corporate families. They are a family. They are a fiercely loyal family to each other, but only to the golden children they like. The second they don't like you, or the second you point out that their system is broken, you aren't family anymore. You're trash to be thrown out. It's depressing to show up, do your best, and get discarded by people with giant egos just because you wouldn't stroke them. But a job is just a job. It isn't your worth. Thanks for watching. Always look at how a company treats people when the workload gets heavy. Watch out for toxic workplace families that protect their golden children, and never sacrifice your peace of mind for a fragile manager's ego. That's the only truth that matters. But other than that, that's the story. If you guys want more specifics about what I was actually doing in the lab, or if you want me to explain more of the technical stuff I had to put up with, I am more than happy to make a second video with a part 2. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that, and let me know how you've handled golden children at your own jobs. Let's talk about it. See you in the next one.